Look down. See that stream? The water is rushing over the rocks. It's cold. It's powerful. For thousands of years, our ancestors stood right here. They weren't looking for a drink. They were looking for something else. A flash of yellow. A glint of sun trapped in the stone. That was gold. Raw. Untamed. Pure. It didn't rust. It didn't tarnish. It was a piece of the sun you could hold in your hand. This wasn't mining. Not yet. This was pure discovery. A test of your eyes and your patience against the wilderness. It was the very first step on a long, dangerous road. Finding it was one thing. Getting it was another. You'd have to get into that freezing water. Your fingers would go numb. You'd use a simple pan, maybe just your bare hands, swirling the sand and gravel, letting the lighter material wash away, hoping, praying, that a heavy yellow flake would be left behind. This is called placer mining. It's the simplest form of the hunt. It's you against the river. A battle of wits and endurance. Ancient Egyptians, Romans, Greeks, they all started this way. They knelt by the water, their backs aching, their eyes straining for that telltale shimmer that promised wealth and power. This wasn't just about getting rich. It was about survival and status. Gold was soft. You could hammer it, shape it. You could make beautiful things. Jewelry for a queen. A death mask for a pharaoh. It was a symbol. It told everyone you were strong. You were important. You could command resources. You had conquered a piece of the earth itself. The people who found this gold weren't just prospectors. They were providers. They were warriors in their own right, bringing back a treasure that could change the destiny of their entire tribe. It was a fundamental resource, as vital as food or fire. Imagine the feeling. After hours, maybe days, of backbreaking work, you see it, a nugget, maybe the size of your thumbnail. It feels heavy in your palm, heavier than any rock. It's cold from the water but warms quickly in your grip. This single piece of metal connects you to the Earth's fiery core. It's a direct link to the power of nature. This is what drove people. Not just the idea of money. It was the thrill of the hunt. The raw, primal victory of pulling treasure from the wild with your own two hands. It's a feeling that still drives treasure hunters today. For a long time, gold was just gold. Lumps, dust, nuggets. You could trade it, sure, but how much was it worth? You had to weigh it every single time. It was clumsy, inefficient. Imagine trying to buy a loaf of bread with gold dust. A gust of wind and your payment is gone. Not a good survival strategy. People needed something better, something standardized, something you could trust just by looking at it. The wilderness demands efficiency. So did the marketplace. The time was ripe for an evolution, a massive leap forward in how we used this incredible metal. The breakthrough came around 600 BC, in a kingdom called Lydia, in modern-day Turkey. They had a brilliant idea, a truly game-changing one. They took a naturally occurring mix of gold and silver called electrum. They melted it down. They made small, bean-shaped lumps of a specific weight. Then, they did something revolutionary. They stamped it. They hit it with a punch that left a mark, a seal of the king. This was the world's first coin. It was a promise. The king's mark guaranteed its weight and its purity. You no longer had to weigh the metal. You just had to count the coins. This changed everything. Suddenly, trade exploded. A merchant could travel hundreds of miles, his wealth secure in a small pouch. He didn't need scales. He just needed to be able to count. An army could be paid quickly and efficiently. Soldiers could then spend their wages in the local market. It was a system that fueled economies and built empires. The coin was more than just money. It was a tool, a piece of survival gear for civilization itself. It allowed for complex societies to grow and thrive in a way that simple bartering never could. It was an invention as important as the wheel or the sail. Other civilizations saw this and caught on fast. The Greeks perfected it. They separated the gold from the silver. They created stunning coins with images of their gods and goddesses. An Athenian owl wasn't just a piece of silver. It was a symbol of Athenian power and wisdom. A gold stater from King Philip II of Macedon was a statement of his wealth and ambition. These coins were pocket-sized propaganda. They spread a kingdom's fame and influence wherever they were spent. They were a way of stamping your identity, not just on metal, but on the world. When Rome entered the game, they took the idea of coinage and turned it into a weapon. The Roman Empire wasn't just built with swords and shields. It was built with gold, specifically the gold aureus. This coin was the backbone of their massive economy. It was pure, it was heavy, and it was recognized everywhere from the misty forests of Britain to the scorching deserts of Syria. A Roman legionary, the ultimate survivor, was paid in these coins. With that gold, he could buy food, equipment, or send money home. It was his reward for facing death on the frontier. The Romans were masters of mining. They didn't just pan in rivers, they tore mountains apart. In places like Las Medulas in Spain, they used a technique called ruinamontium, the wrecking of mountains. They would build huge aqueducts to channel water for miles. Then they would unleash it, creating a torrent that washed away entire hillsides to expose the gold veins beneath. It was brutal, it was destructive, but it was incredibly effective. It was man versus mountain, and with enough engineering and sheer will, man won. This industrial-scale operation fed the Roman mints with a constant supply of gold. Every aureus told a story. The emperor's face was stamped on the front. This wasn't just for decoration. It was a powerful message. It said, "I am in charge. This is my territory. My power backs this coin." When a new emperor took over, one of the first things he would do is mint new coins with his portrait. It was the fastest way to announce his rule across the vast empire. The back of the coin often showed a military victory, a new building, or a god. It was a tiny billboard that communicated the emperor's success and piety to every citizen who held it. But this reliance on gold was also a weakness. When the mines started to run dry, or when emperors spent too much on wars, they had a problem. They couldn't just make more gold, so they started debasing the currency. They would mix the gold with cheaper metals. An aureus that was once nearly pure gold might become only 50% gold. People weren't stupid. They knew they were being cheated. This loss of trust in the currency helped to crumble the empire from within. It's a tough lesson. Your survival depends on the resources you have. When the gold runs out, the power can run out too. As Rome fell, Europe splintered. The age of grand imperial coins was over for a time. Now a new force rose from the cold north. The Vikings. These were the ultimate survivors, master navigators, feared warriors. They sailed their longships across treacherous seas where others dared not go. They weren't mining for gold in the same way the Romans did. Their method was more direct, more brutal. They raided for it. A wealthy monastery in England or a rich town in France was a treasure chest waiting to be opened. Viking hoards, discovered centuries later, tell the story. You find Anglo-Saxon pennies, Arabic dirhams, Byzantine solidi, and Frankish coins all jumbled together. They didn't care about the emperor's face on the coin. They cared about its weight, its purity. Gold was gold, silver was silver. They would often chop larger coins into pieces called hack silver or hack gold to make exact change. It was a practical, no-nonsense approach to wealth. For a Viking, a coin wasn't a symbol of a distant king's power. It was a tangible resource, a tool for survival and trade on their own terms. But it wasn't all raiding and plunder. The Vikings were also incredible traders. They established vast networks that stretched from Canada to Constantinople. They would trade furs, walrus ivory, and amber for silver and gold. The coins they acquired were used to buy land, build ships, and secure alliances. A Viking chief with a large hoard of gold could attract the best warriors and command immense respect. The gold they brought back to Scandinavia fueled their society, allowing them to build strongholds and launch even more ambitious expeditions. It was a cycle of risk and reward on a global scale. Sometimes they didn't spend the gold, they buried it. A Viking warrior heading out on a dangerous voyage might bury his treasure for safekeeping. If he didn't return, it stayed in the ground, a secret waiting to be found. These hoards are a direct link to the past. Finding one is like uncovering a warrior's survival cache. It contains the wealth he risked his life for. Each coin, from a different land, tells a piece of his journey. It's a raw, unfiltered history of a life of adventure, violence, and incredible daring, preserved in the earth for 1,000 years. The world changed again in 1492. Columbus sailed west and, well, collided with the Americas. For Spain, this was like discovering a hidden world of treasure. The Aztec and Inca empires were rich in gold, not as coins, but as incredible works of art. The Spanish conquistadors, tough and ruthless men, saw only one thing: raw material. They melted down priceless artifacts, centuries of culture turned into crude bars. Their mission was simple: get the gold, get it back to Spain, and make the king the most powerful man on earth. It was a brutal clash of worlds, all driven by the lust for this yellow metal. From this plundered wealth, a legendary coin was born, the Spanish doubloon, or escudo. It was a big, heavy gold coin, often crudely struck. These were the famous pieces of eight's pirate cousin. The mints in Mexico, Peru, and Colombia worked overtime, stamping out millions of these coins. They were loaded onto massive treasure fleets that sailed for Spain once a year. But the sea is a dangerous place. Hurricanes, pirates, warships from rival nations like England. Getting that gold home was a battle for survival every step of the way. These treasure fleets were the ultimate prize. Pirates like Blackbeard and Calico Jack became legends hunting these ships. A single captured galleon could make a whole crew rich beyond their wildest dreams. But it was incredibly dangerous. You weren't just fighting the Spanish, you were fighting the ocean. Many ships didn't make it. They were smashed against reefs or swallowed by storms. Their treasure, thousands of gold doubloons, sank to the seabed. They lie there still, a fortune in gold waiting in the crushing dark of the abyss. For every coin that made it to Spain, another might have been lost to the depths. The doubloon became the first truly global currency. It was trusted everywhere. You could spend it in the Philippines, in the Netherlands, in the heart of Africa. It funded Spain's wars and built its palaces. But like Rome, Spain became too dependent on it. The flood of gold caused massive inflation, crippling their own economy. They had the treasure, but they mismanaged it. It shows that just having the resource isn't enough. You have to be smart. You have to adapt. The doubloon is a symbol of incredible wealth and power, but also a warning about the dangers of easy money. By the 19th century, the hunt for gold really changed. It wasn't about kings and empires anymore. Now it was about ordinary people. Just one discovery could trigger this massive human migration, a stampede into the wilderness. This was the era of the gold rush. It all kicked off in California in 1848, when a man named James Marshall noticed something shining in a sawmill's water channel. Word got out, and the news spread like wildfire. Suddenly, people from all over the world dropped everything, their farms, their jobs, even their families, and raced to California. They were totally gripped by gold fever. Life in the gold fields? Oh, it was brutal. This was man versus wild in its purest form. You had to get there first, which meant crossing mountains, deserts, or even dangerous seas. And when you finally arrived, you lived in a tent or some crude shack. Law and order were pretty scarce, and your claim was only as safe as your ability to defend it. You worked from sunrise to sunset, standing in freezing water, digging in hard ground, your body just aching. You faced disease, starvation, and violence. For every man who struck it rich, there were 100 who found nothing but misery and an early grave. It was, honestly, the ultimate gamble. The tools were simple but effective. The gold pan for prospecting, the rocker or cradle, which two men could use to wash way more dirt than a single pan. And then came the sluice box, a long trough with ripples on the bottom to trap the heavy gold. As the easy gold from the rivers ran out, the real work began. Hard rock mining. That meant digging tunnels deep into the mountainside, following the veins of quartz that held the gold. It was dark, dangerous work, and cave-ins were common. You were fighting the mountain itself, chipping away at it one rock at a time. The California gold rush was just the beginning. The fever spread across the globe, Australia in 1851, the Klondike in Canada's frozen Yukon Territory in 1896. Each rush had its own character, its own impossible challenges. In the Klondike, you had to haul a literal ton of supplies over treacherous mountain passes just to be allowed into the territory. You faced temperatures that could freeze a man solid in minutes. It was an incredible test of human endurance and, honestly, greed. These rushes built cities, populated frontiers, and forever changed the map of the world, all for the chance of finding that yellow metal. Whenever you have great treasure, you get great stories. And when that treasure gets lost, the stories become legends. The world is just full of tales of lost gold coins and the curses that protect them. These aren't just fairy tales. They're born from real events, shipwrecks, battles, and buried hoards. They speak to our deep-seated belief that such incredible wealth just can't come without a price. One of the most famous is the legend of the Lost Dutchman's gold mine in the Superstition Mountains of Arizona, a place where survival is a minute-by-minute challenge. The story goes that a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz discovered a massive gold mine in the 1800s. He would show up in Phoenix from time to time with his pockets full of rich gold ore, but he never revealed the mine's exact location. On his deathbed, he supposedly described where it was to a neighbor, but the clues were cryptic at best. Since then, thousands of people have searched for the mine. Many have died. They've fallen from cliffs, vanished without a trace, or been found mysteriously shot. People say the spirits of earlier miners, or maybe even Apache warriors, guard the gold. It's a powerful warning from the wilderness. Then you have the treasure of the sea. In 1715, a Spanish treasure fleet carrying unimaginable wealth in gold and silver coins was smashed by a hurricane off the coast of Florida. 11 of the 12 ships were lost. The treasure, millions of coins, was scattered across the seabed. For centuries, the gold just lay hidden. People knew it was down there, but finding it in the shifting sands and powerful currents was nearly impossible. They say the ghosts of the drowned sailors still guard the treasure, their spectral hands protecting the king's gold from anyone who would dare to claim it. These legends really serve a purpose. They're survival guides, wrapped in a story. They warn of the dangers of greed and teach respect for the wild places where this treasure is hidden. The mountains and the sea will kill you if you're careless. A curse might just be a way of explaining the very real, tangible dangers of treasure hunting in a hostile environment. But, the stories also fuel the fire. The idea of a lost treasure, a cursed fortune, is just irresistible. It's the ultimate challenge, and it's not just about the gold. It's about solving the mystery, breaking the curse, and surviving the ordeal. The great gold rushes might be over, but honestly, the hunt is not. Today, there's a new breed of explorer searching for gold. They've got tools our ancestors could only dream about. Metal detectors that can sing when they pass over a single coin buried a foot underground, magnetometers that can find the iron cannons of a sunken galleon, and side-scan sonar that paints a picture of the seabed, revealing the outline of a shipwreck hidden for centuries. It's a high-tech game now, but the spirit is still the same. It's about the thrill of the chase and the lure of discovery. One of the most exciting frontiers is the ocean. Men like Mel Fisher, a legendary treasure hunter, dedicated their lives to finding lost Spanish galleons. He spent 16 years searching for the Nuestra Señora de Atocha, which sank in 1622. He faced storms, legal battles, and personal tragedy, but he never gave up. In 1985, his team found it, the Motherlode. They recovered over 40 tons of silver and gold, including thousands of priceless gold doubloons. It was a victory of persistence, proof that with the right gear and an iron will, you can pull history right out of the ocean. On land, the hunt continues too. Hobbyists with metal detectors explore old battlefields, ghost towns, and colonial-era farmsteads. They call it coin shooting. Every beep of the detector is a surge of adrenaline. Is it a worthless piece of junk or a rare gold coin? In 2013, a couple in California were just walking their dog on their own property. They saw the top of a rusty can sticking out of the ground. They dug it up. Inside were gold coins. And then they found more cans, a total of 1,427 gold coins from the 1890s, a hidden hoard worth over $10 million. It's the ultimate dream treasure buried in your own backyard. Valuing these coins is kind of a science in itself. It's not just about the weight of the gold, it's about rarity, condition, and history. A common Roman gold coin might be worth a few $1,000s, but a rare one, from a short-lived emperor, could be worth hundreds of thousands. Grading companies seal the coins in plastic cases, giving them a score from 1 to 70. This standardization gives collectors confidence. It turns a piece of raw treasure into a certified historical artifact. For the modern hunter, the find is really just the first step. The next is understanding its unique story and its place in history. So why, after thousands of years, are we still obsessed with gold coins? I mean, we have paper money, digital currency, stocks, bonds. Yet gold endures. It's because gold is real, it's tangible. You can hold it in your hand, it has weight, it has substance. It's not a promise on a piece of paper or a number on a screen. It's a physical asset, created in the heart of a dying star, forged in the belly of the earth. In a world of uncertainty, gold is a constant. It's the ultimate survival asset. When banks fail and governments crumble, gold is still gold. Holding a gold coin is like holding history. Pick up a Roman aureus. Your fingers are touching the same metal that a legionary might have used to buy wine 2,000 years ago. An emperor's face looks back at you. It connects you directly to the past in a way a book or a museum exhibit simply cannot. It's a powerful feeling. Each scratch and dent on the coin is part of its story, a record of its journey through countless hands, through wars and peace, across empires and oceans. It's a survivor, just like the people who have hunted for it throughout history. Today, people buy gold coins for all sorts of reasons. Some are collectors, fascinated by the art and history. They're curators of their own private museums. Others are investors, seeing gold as a safe haven, a way to protect their wealth from inflation and economic storms. When the financial system looks shaky, people run to gold. It's an instinct as old as civilization. It's a hedge against the unknown. Owning physical gold is a declaration of self-reliance. It's your own personal reserve, independent of any bank or government. Ultimately, the lure of gold is primal. It's buried deep in our DNA. It represents the thrill of the hunt, the dream of discovery, the desire for security, and a connection to the grand, sweeping story of human ambition. From the first man who saw a glimmer in a stream to the modern diver searching a shipwreck, the quest is the same. It's about pitting yourself against the odds, enduring the hardships, and claiming a piece of tangible, timeless, and beautiful treasure. Gold doesn't just represent wealth, it represents the unbreakable spirit of human adventure. And that is something that will never lose its value.